Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the Shitty Oak. Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Welcome to another official installment of the Jody's Sunday Roast series. There have been a few unofficial installments which I also drop on a Sunday, but here follows a proper roasting, let me assure you. Now, you know I have no problem with homage watches, look-alike watches, watches that take the design of a much more expensive watch and offer it up for those who either cannot or simply would not pay big money for a watch. But this style of watch only makes sense if there is a huge price gulf between the original and the look-alike, hence thumbnails like this. There is no point in buying a homage of an affordable watch, especially a watch that can be readily bought for less than $100 US. Shout out to The Relentless Time on Instagram. He's a big Casio fan and he sent me a message about this one a few weeks ago. I had to order one with the sole intention of roasting it, so let's flip the camera and do just that. Alright, let's get into it. Clearly though, we are not getting into a glycine today, we're getting into something much worse. I thought though, as we're having fun, or at least I'm having fun, we would play a little game together. We would play a game of packaging Russian dolls. So let's start with a glycine box. And inside the glycine box we have a Seiko box. And inside the Seiko box we have a Pagani box. And inside the Pagani box we have the box for the Shitty Oak. There it is. Look, I better stop swearing. I don't normally swear on the channel. I better stop calling it that in case people get offended. I think I have made my point already. We're not going to be here long. I do not suggest that you pay the money for one of these that I did. Oh, look at that. Talking of which, this is what I paid. I paid $28 US for the privilege of giving this one a right roasting today. Now, for only $54 more, you can get an actual Casio G-Shock GA2100. It's a joke. Why on earth would you buy one of these things? Look, I appreciate they are not identical. This one is the half metal, half resin band affair. I've seen those half metal G-Shocks now coming down to 250 Aussie dollars if you're not fussed about colour. That's about 160, 170 US dollars at the current exchange rate. Again, there's just no excuse for buying one of these. Save your pennies, buy a regular one, or save your pennies a little bit longer and buy one of the half metals that you really want. Don't go for one of these things. Particularly when you compare it side by side to an original GA2100, as I am about to do. This was my first Casio. I bought this one about 3 years ago now, not long after they were launched. When they were launched, to much fanfare, octagonal bezel giving it that Royal Oak look, but also it was the slimmest G-Shock so far, coming in at under 12mm thick at 11.8. The Samda by comparison is a positively girthy 15.8mm thick. Look at that. They got a lot of this watch pretty close to the original, but they didn't get that anything like it. In fact, it reminds me rather a lot of the fake Casio that I reviewed a couple of years ago as well. That one even thicker at 17mm. Look at that thing. That is obscene. Sure, there are thicker G-Shocks than this, but not when they're supposed to be the thinnest G-Shock ever. Now, I'm not suggesting that Samda make fakes, that's not where I'm going with this one. Maybe just the people who make these modules cannot make a slim module. Look at the difference, just another reason not to buy it. Yet one more reason, only 50 meters of water resistance. The G-Shock standard is 200 across the range. 50, you don't really want to be going much beyond your local swimming pool with this. Although they'd probably be queuing up to laugh at you at your local swimming pool if you did go. Alright, to give Samda some credit, the module in this is pretty much identical to the module in the 2100s, both in terms of operation and specification. So we've got a two-hander plus a day of the week indicator and a two-line LCD display here. At least it is a positive and not negative display, so you can actually read it, unlike some originals. That can be switched between date and month and a replication of the home time. You've even got a light in the top left corner. Hey, that's not bad. And then you've got the various modes. World time, you can cycle through all the world cities here. If I cycle through these, and it's the same selection of world cities as found on an original. Next push and you're into stopwatch, and what do we got? There's the light, start, stop and reset. One more push, countdown timer, one more push, alarm, and there are no less than 5 alarms. And again, you can turn the signal on and off, you can turn summertime on and off. It is to all intents and purposes identical. The thing is though, with a G-Shock, you're pretty much guaranteed it's going to last you years, if not decades. With a Samda, who knows how long this thing will actually last. And that's before you even get it on wrist. Honestly, it's like wearing an egg strapped to the top of your wrist. 78 grams, it's not massively heavy, but it's just far too thick for its own good. And unnecessarily thick. Oh yeah, there we are. A kicker, the collar does not match the cuffs. Just say no, folks. Normally when I give a watch a bit of a roasting, I usually feel a bit sorry for it. I can usually find a few redeeming features here and there, but I'm struggling to see any redeeming features of this Samda. I'm struggling to see why, with a factor of 3 in terms of price, $50 more, why would you buy one of these knockoffs rather than the original? You just wouldn't, so just don't. So there you have it. For approximately 25% of the price, you can have a watch that's 25% as waterproof, 50% thicker, 50% uglier, and 200% more likely to get you laughed at by random strangers. Don't do it. It's not worth it. If you want to see the OG pie-eating fake, click here, or for my review of the real thing, click here. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you again in a future video, I hope.